I often say to people, if you want to be world class at something, you probably have only got two things in your life you can actually focus on, and anything more than that will stop world class. But if you don't want to be Usain Bolt, the Olympic gold medalist, but you want to be flipping awesome at a bunch of things, there's probably only 5 things you can actually allow to eat into your time. And when you hit time 6, you end up in negative figures. What are like your 5 things, or 3 to 5 things that you say, this is me, and this is what I'm going to be flipping awesome at?
Yeah, number one is my family. I've learned that I have a 4 and 2-year-old little girls, and they'll be 5 and 3, and so my wife and my kids, I want to, number one, be a great husband, and I want to be a great dad, and same type of thing. I mean, it's if you let time take away from that, or you're trying to do a lot of other things, you're not going to be very good at those either. And so number one, that's where my time and my priorities with that is being a great husband and being a great dad. And then above all, is loving God and being entrenched in our church, and letting that lead our lives. My personal belief is that if that's not number one, then I'm not going to be a great husband. I'm not going to be a great dad. And so when I look back on things, I mean, I can be maybe whatever my success becomes as a coach. I would rather be a bad coach and a great dad, and I'd rather be a great dad and a bad coach and a bad hunter. And as long as I get those right, so that's where it starts. And there are a lot of times you want to get at. Maybe that'll change as they get older, but right now they're so young, you don't want to miss out on a lot of those things. And especially I pray that I think I got a couple girls that want to get outside. With is getting them out. Some of our best times have been on going on family hikes. We've gotten to do a lot of that. And so those 2 things. And then obviously my team, now that I'm not playing anymore, is just as a head coach at a Division I school, is the entire organization. A lot of that, my staff and their families, all of the 105 players that are on our team, and their well-being, and then is taking care of this program. And then I would say that the other is trying to be good at it'd be exercise and being outside, being a hunter and fisherman. And I still got a long way to go with that. That's what I mean. I think that's what keeps me coming back the most is in hunting and fishing, is that I've always grown up being such a big competitor and having some success in football and basketball and those type of things is like what keeps driving me back is just that you're not always going to be successful in the outdoors hunting. Like there's a lot, like, it's hunting, not killing, and it's you're going to go out there a lot of days, and it's like, it's funny, you come back and it's like your wife's like, how'd it go? It's like, I didn't see any. It's like, you sat out there in the tree for 5 hours and didn't see anything. It's like, yeah, but it was still a good day to me, and I'm going to get in next time. And so I would say, those are 5 things that I would say really is who I am.
And it's interesting as I look at those things, all of those require you to be a lifelong student, like a lifelong student of God, a lifelong student of being a great husband and a great father. As we both know, coaching, there's a lifetime's worth of learning in how to be an incredible coach. And then the outdoors, like the moment you think you've mastered the outdoors, you have to accept the fact you haven't, because it'll slap you. How do you go about being a student for those things? Do you have a process, or is it just a feel-based thing, or what's your approach to developing yourself with those things?
Yeah, no, I believe that 100%. I mean, you are always learning. I think number one, you have to have a humbleness about yourself to know that you've got to get better, and that you don't know everything, and that you have to have a position of like an open mind and open heart of like, I am still learning. I have so much. That guy's better than than me. So I need to ask questions. And so I think it starts with a mindset of wanting to get better. You might be the leader, you might be, but there's somebody out there that's either older and wiser than you, and you need his wisdom, and you need to approach it that way to learn. And so even though I'm the head coach, I'm 35 years old, there's people on my staff that I recognize he might be better in this area than me, and I need to sit back and ask him questions and learn from him. And so I think it comes with that. So I'm constantly learning and trying to I think that you need to read, and you need to always be willing to make relationships with people, and know that it doesn't matter who you come across, you can learn something from them. You know, it no matter what. I enjoy whenever, people are in, or I might be in their home recruiting. It might be a dad or a grandpa of somebody that I'm recruiting their kid. And you got to be willing to ask questions and get things out of them. So I think that number one, of course it's a process. You've got to be committed to your process, understand what that process is. And number one, I think it's a position of humility. I think we talk about that all the time here. I think the greatest people, number one, sometimes humility is knowing that you need to get better. You look at Tom Brady in our sport, some of the guys that you look at Tom Brady. I mean, he's maybe the greatest quarterback of all time, won the most Super Bowls, those type of things. Or like you said, Pete Carroll. I mean, listen to some of the things, like he continues to push himself and learn and adapt, and each year is different. This year, COVID, brought that on all of us. And it doesn't matter how old of a coach you were, you've never had a playbook for COVID. So you had to be, calling and asking, and, what are you doing? Oh, and being okay to not have the ego to have to pivot. Like, hey, we were doing this, but, I talked to somebody and they're doing it better. And you know what? That's the way we're going to do it too, because that's better than what I did. So I think it's a position of humility, starts with anything that, man, I can grow and get better to the end of time.